crazy situation, civil war going on 3 different fronts.
Yeah.
You've got our puppets that we put in power, and they'll be, they'll disappear fast. They'll probably take the next plane out after we leave, with the money they've saved, of course. I don't know. It's a madness. The same in Afghanistan now. And of course, Obama is going to clear everything up. Tripled the troops in Afghanistan now, and the Russians are laughing up their sleeves. They say, we've been through this, we know better. And so are the Brits, who were whopped before the Russians even went in, stupidly. And now we're in there. I hope we get out somehow. All right. Jessica Goodell wrote a book. Is this a big fat book or a little thin book? What is it?
No, it's a really thin book.
A little thin book on her experiences. Now, what do you highlight in the book? What do you talk about in the book? Same thing we've talked about in part, but before you tell us about the book, I'm going to let you talk to this person who's called in, okay?
Okay, okay.
Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning, Reed. This is Linda Spalding.
Well, hi, Linda.
Good morning. Jennifer, I want to thank you for what you've done for us. I have the utmost gratitude for our veterans. There's no greater love for humanity than to put your life at risk and be willing to lay down your life for another person. So thank you for what you've done. I have a question for you. Have you, since you have done this, have you changed your feelings and attitude toward society and our particular society in general? Has it caused a change?
Well, I think that as an individual, I am part of society, and that society is not separate from me. And so it's certainly changed me. It was difficult coming, especially from the Marine Corps, and especially coming from combat, back into an individualistic society. And that was really difficult for me because the Marine Corps really trains us to be group-oriented, and to care for each other. And sometimes in society, we don't see that as often as we'd like. But I think that it's important to know that it starts with us, that it radiates outward. And so certainly it's changed me, and I hope that it's changed, the people that I interact with,
Yes, I see. Well, thank you. Sometimes when I hear of what our service people go through, and then the complaints that I hear in our general society, there's no comparison with the severity of what our service people go through. So thank you very much for what you've done for us.
Well, thank you for the call, Linda. You're doing something for the Office of Aging still, as I recall.
Yes, I am.
What are you doing?
I would like to announce that we have the services for seniors at the Chautauqua County Office for the Aging. I handle the senior employment program. There are other services, health insurance, counseling, and HEAP applications, and many, many other wonderful programs that are available. Our telephone number is 753-4471 in Mayville, and the toll-free number from Dunkirk is 363-4471.
Well, thank you very much for your announcement, and say hello to that. She's married to a wonderful, cute, elderly gentleman over there. Give him my best.
Reed, we're all maturing.
Especially Doug.
Doug wants to talk to you. Just a minute, please.
Okay. Squeak him in.
Are you talking about me again, Reed?
Never would I suggest anything about you.
You're
Never.
just kidding. I wanted to say to Jennifer, thank you, Jennifer, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have done the most difficult job on earth as far as I'm concerned. And, thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Doug, and you have a great holiday, okay?
You too.
Don't forget to set another place at the table for somebody who might not have anywhere to go on Christmas. We always do. There's actually a term for that in the Bible. You set a place for somebody in the Bible. I can't remember who it is. We're with Jessica Goodell. Now, she's just started to tell us a little bit about the Shaded Black, which is a book, and it's a bestseller. It's doing very well. What do you talk about in that book?
The book, it actually started out as my journal. because when I came back, I was having a really hard time transitioning into civilian life. And so I had met, well, actually I had gone through JCC, and after I had gone through JCC, I was in contact with one of my professors, and I told him that I was having a hard time, and he suggests that we write it down. And I said, well, I don't really remember that well, you know, I'm just having flashbacks and nightmares. And he said, well, tell me, and I'll write it down for you. And so that's what we did, and it was just meant to be my journal. And when we were done with it, John gave it to me, and he said, you know, when you're ready, now you have this.
What was his name?
John Hearn.
John Hearn.
Yep.
He's at JCC now?
Yes, he's
Okay.
a sociology professor at JCC, and he's the co-author of the
And
book.
he got you going on this,
Yep,
huh?
yep.
And it's, actually, it's an inside view of the mortuary services and some of the craziness going on over there.
Yeah.
As she said, does this change your view of society? Now, when you see somebody who's been all blown to pieces, and you wonder, how can a human being do this to another human being? How do you accept that?
I think that that there's a really desperate situation out there, and I think that people are really hurting. And not that I agree with it, you know, but I think that it comes from a place of pain from both sides, that people are really hurting.
The Iraqis are hurting? Starvation? What is it? What's the basic problem of there? Like in most Arab countries, of course, the rich and powerful have taken over and they steal all the money, especially with the oil. They had oil.
Well, especially for the Iraqis, they're living in a combat zone. You know, they don't get to come home to America. Their home is in a state of conflict, and it's really difficult for them to go to school, to go down the street, to go to the marketplace. These are all serious threats that we have no idea what that's like here, which is a really neat thing about America, that we don't know what that's like. It's also, you know, difficult because we don't know.
It's a blessing, too.
Right.
Yeah.
So it goes both, but it is. I think that it's really difficult for the Iraqis, as hard as it is for our service members. We get to come back here, some of us.
We can go home.
Yeah.
Their home is a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be killed any second. You don't know.
Yeah.
Walk down the street to get some groceries.
Yeah.
Bang, that's it.
Yeah.
That's living in terror.
Yeah.
If you were to advise Obama how to improve the situation in the Middle East, what would you tell him? You've been there. You've felt it. You've talked to people. You're part of it. What would you say? Can you give him any advice? They're watching right now.
I guess what I would say is to be as much informed as you can be, and to try to not judge, and instead evaluate the information that you can get, and to get more information, and to really seek out both sides and empathize with everyone. Try and empathize with the people of Iraq, and try and empathize with our foreign relations, and really try to do what's best given that information.
Yeah, that's how we got there in the first place. Of course, Condoleezza Rice, in charge of security, and everybody else in the government at that time under Bush, had information that there were weapons of mass destruction all over the place, so we attacked. Apparently, the information was not correct, and apparently they didn't have the full information. You think Obama's getting it? You know, sometimes the military doesn't completely open up to the government, to the officials in charge. Do you think they're getting the full story over to them?
I suspect that President Obama knows a lot more information than I do.
So you think he's being filled in?
Well, I think that he knows a lot more than I do. So in terms of what's best for our country, I think that he's more informed than I am.
Well, you're not a politician. Your dad might know. Her dad is Andy Goodell. Shade in Black. Where can we get the book, Jessica?
You can get it at Borders or Barnes & Nobles or on Amazon.
Amazon?
Yep.
I love Amazon.
Yeah, me too.
I buy everything there. I just bought a steel. I couldn't find a good steel for sharpening my knives. And then while I was at it, I found they had caviar for a quarter of the price. I like the lumpfish caviar. It tastes just like it. The eggs are a little smaller. And I just received that yesterday, and I'm very happy to say that my knives are now sharp, and I enjoyed the caviar. I gave my son some, and I've still got a couple left, little jars. They're fantastic. You get it, just go to Amazon. It's listed there, huh? What's it cost?
You can, anywhere new to use, just a couple dollars.
You're smart, you buy it used.
Yep, yes.
And also you you go onto their plan where you can get another one in 6 months or whatever, whenever you decide to have it. They'll knock 15% off and they absorb the shipping. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I do that. And then I call in later and say, I don't like it. That's it. You kill that anyway. You don't have to buy another one. You can cancel it. Amazon. It doesn't take long to read. It's a fast read, huh?
Yes.
And it does give you some insight into what you're having to deal with. And the most important thing you're having to deal with, from what you've said to me, is not so much the horrific experience, but the aftermath, the coming home, having gone through this now, and how it's changed you, and how it's hurt you in certain ways, but it's certainly helped you too. You say you seem to have a better grasp on the meaning of life and caring and loving and fitting in within a framework of our society that you have to deal with. How long have you been doing this? How long have you been feeling a lot better about it, about the post-traumatic shock disorder?
Well, I've been kind of taking on those issues head on, because I think that if we deny those issues or we repress them or we don't talk about them, that they just get worse, and they fester, and eventually they come out, and I don't want to risk losing my career or losing my family or losing a spouse later on down the road, and so I've really kind of been on this mission to confront this issue head on, and I've been doing that for the last couple of years, but it's difficult and it's painful.
You're dealing with it.
Yeah.
I think you've dealt with it pretty much. Once you can talk about it openly, as you do, you basically are over the hump. You're now accepting it, you're dealing with it, and you're much better off. I'm sure you were a mess when you got back, because it's just one of those things you can't normally deal with. Now, again, if you had any advice for kids going over, what would you tell them?
I guess I would hope that they have an idea of what they're getting into. I hope that they can locate Afghanistan on a map and Iraq on a map. And
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just got that. We're out of here. They're throwing us off there. I want to give you 30 seconds to wrap up on your own, uninterrupted. Just say whatever you want, and it's a wrap for you.
Okay, well, I guess what I would say then is to the returning veterans is that whatever pain you're going through, that it's valid, and that you're not alone, and that there's people out there who love you. And one of the most important things that I've been able to do is connect with other people. And I know as a returning veteran that's hard to do, but there's people out there that want to connect with you and help you get through it.
If they want to get in touch with you, how would they do that, Jessica? Somebody might be hearing this.
Yep. You can go to shadeitblack.com and post a comment on the blog, and we'll read it personally.
Shadeitblack.com.
Yep.
And go to the blog, and you will personally get their message and may contact them, possibly, if you feel you should reach out, right?
Yep.
Jess Goodell, thank you for giving up your Saturday morning to come over here and talk to us. I have another caller, but unfortunately we just don't have the time.
Okay.
But maybe you'll come back sometime.
Yeah.
See how we're doing. And maybe I'll get you in here with your daddy. That would be a family affair, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Jess Goodell wrote a great book, Shade It Black, which is available all over the world. You can get it at Amazon, among other places, and it's a good read, inexpensive and fun. Meantime, I want to thank some beautiful people out there. Sorry, caller, we didn't get you, but you'll have another chance. Chuck Kelsey, Devin Taylor, Chris Burt, Randy Burt, Chris Ramaker, Jeff Zook. He's our